Hey, how's it going guys? Blue Tempest here and welcome back to another video. So for today we have a reading log, which is something that I feel like I haven't done in what feels like forever, and that is because I did end up skipping out on doing a reading log for February because I was feeling a bit burnt out on reading manga. I did also do a video on that topic, so definitely check that out if you haven't seen it. And now we are about halfway into April and I still haven't done my March reading log. And it's not because I was burnt out or anything. I actually got back into the swing of things with reading manga in March, and that's what we're gonna be talking about today. All of my manga reads, mainly for March. I did read a couple things here and there in February, which I will also include in today's reading log. And there are a couple of series that I have already started reading in April, but I'm gonna save those for the next reading log. So I do apologize that this March reading log is a little bit late, but either way, I'm just really excited to share what I've been reading with you guys, and I do want to go through these kind of quick because we have a lot to talk about. So starting off here, I do want to briefly mention Die Dark. I did actually do a video where I compared Die Dark to another series by the same mangaka, Dorohedoro. So I would definitely recommend just watching that video as I go pretty in depth into what this series is about, but I just did want to mention it that I did read the first 3 volumes and I can't wait for volume 4 to come out. And next up, let's talk about Gantz Omnibus 8. I can't really go too in depth with my thoughts on this omnibus because we are getting into some really spoilery territory. Obviously, this is the 8th 3-in-1 omnibus, so we're getting closer to the end at this point. And yeah, I just gotta say that Gantz is still absolutely insane. The action is just unparalleled, and I do want to mention that there is a monster or just creature, I don't even know, alien I guess, that is in this volume specifically that they are fighting, and it's probably the most terrifying thing that the Gantz team has fought so far in the series. And yeah, I can't go really much deeper into that, but just know that Gantz is an absolutely insane series, one of my favorite series of all time as well, and these omnibuses can't come out fast enough. Next up, we have Blood on the Tracks by Shuzo Oshimi. This is one of my favorite ongoing series. I've talked about this numerous times on my channel, so don't want to really get into it, but I will say this was a really good volume, and the cliffhanger at the end of this volume is probably the best cliffhanger since the cliffhanger at the end of volume 1. So yeah, I am just really looking forward to see where this series goes from here. Yeah, it's just a really dark series, man. Like, this is not for the faint of heart, but yeah, still one of my favorite series that is ongoing right now. All right, and keeping with Shuzo Oshimi, I do want to mention these 2 one-shots that I picked up, and I did read them. These were just really fast reads. Not much, you know, content here, but I did enjoy these. I think that they were both pretty interesting, and you know, I don't want to go too into them because they are basically the length of one singular chapter, so there's not much I could even tell you guys what the premise is for these without, you know, spoiling it. But I will say that these are both, you know, for mature readers for sure, especially Miss Kusakabe. There are a lot of very adult themes in these 2 little one-shots, and I will say that I don't know if these are really worth picking up unless you get them for really cheap, because these aren't really my favorite Oshimi works, and I would only really recommend these if you are a die-hard Oshimi collector like I am. So I am very glad I have these, but they are kind of difficult to recommend if you do want to pick these up because these can get kind of pricey in the aftermarket. But either way, like I said, very glad to have read Waltz and Miss Kusakabe. Alright, so next up here, I did read volume 3 of My Dress Up Darling. Now this is a series that is very popular right now because of the anime. The anime is just such an amazing adaptation of this manga, and I've been taking this manga very, very slow. Like, I'll read, a volume every, couple months, and it makes sense because the release for this is super slow. I believe volume 5 is about to come out after about maybe a year since volume 4 came out, but I do plan on reading volume 4 before volume 5 comes out. That way I can be all up to date on this series. But yes, I absolutely love My Dress Up Darling. This is undoubtedly one of the best rom-com ecchi series out there. Just super wholesome. Love the relationship dynamic in this series. I've talked about this in other reading logs and have gone more in depth with it. So if you go back and find the reading log where I talked about, the first volume of this, I give a more in-depth synopsis on this series. But yeah, either way, just highly recommend this series if you're looking for a rom-com, and if anything, definitely check out the anime because the anime does an amazing job at adapting the manga, like I did say before. So yeah. And next up here, we do have something that is not manga. It is actually a light novel, and that is Classroom of the Elite. Now, this is something I've been reading on and off for the past few months because I'm just not used to reading, actual books with, words, no pictures. Although this one does have some pictures here and there sprinkled throughout. And this is a very highly praised light novel series in the community. So I do have the first 2 volumes of this, read this one, finally finished it, and I, for the most part, enjoyed it, although I'm still kind of torn on it. I don't know if I'm gonna really enjoy this series to its full extent, but I do have volume 2, so I do plan on reading that before I buy any more of these light novel volumes. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, Classroom of the Elite is basically this, high school, I want to say thriller. I don't really even know how to describe this series, but it's basically about this school where you're following these students at the lowest class in the school, I guess, and they're all trying to rise up the ranks in this class system in their school. And it seems really intense as well, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, overall, I did like this. I also did check out the manga for Classroom of the Elite, which I actually don't have anymore because I returned it. I read the first volume, and it honestly made me appreciate the light novel a lot more, because that first volume of the manga rushes through almost the entirety of this light novel, which, by the way, this light novel took me months to read through. Like I said, not used to reading books, but the manga adaptation took me like less than 30 minutes to read, and it adapts almost the entirety of this, like I said. So it definitely skips over a lot and it rushes through things, and I just don't think it was really that well executed, and the art was kind of generic as well. So yeah, I think I'm gonna stick to the light novel on Classroom of the Elite. So yeah, we'll see what happens when I do read volume 2. All right, and next up, I did try out the first volume of GTO. So you're gonna see in this reading log that I did read a lot of the, stray first volume of different series that I did have in my collection, just because I'm trying to, be more mindful as far as the series that I want to actually keep collecting and just keep in my collection in general. So I did have a bunch of random volumes of GTO. So I did read this just to see whether or not I want to continue collecting it. And as of right now, I think I'm gonna try to get the next few volumes so I can have more of an opinion on it. But I did overall enjoy this. There are some aspects that I think are kind of dated in this series and just didn't age well, such as just Onizuka being a very pervy guy towards girls that are a lot younger than he is. So that aspect of it kind of wasn't the greatest, but this did have some funny moments. I did really like the vibe. There were some twists in this volume that I really did enjoy, actually. And overall, GTO, I see why a lot of people love it. Also, just the pedigree of the series alone makes me feel like I need to give this a few more volumes to really, you know, make a valid opinion on it. But yeah, GTO, I'm gonna see where the story goes from here and let you guys know in a future reading log. All right, so I did also get the first volume of Dragon Quest: The Adventure of Dai. Now, this is a series that I did really enjoy. If you guys like that kind of old school 90s Shonen Jump vibe, then I think you're gonna really enjoy this series. I honestly like this a lot more than I thought I would, and I think, you know, the art is really nice. I love the references to the Dragon Quest video game series, and overall, just a very fun, lighthearted read, and I'm looking forward to reading some more of this. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Dragon Quest: The Adventure of Dai. And then another new release is Alice in Borderland, the first omnibus of this series, and I did actually enjoy this a lot. This is from the same mangaka as Zom 100, and I actually ended up enjoying this a lot more than Zom 100. This is a, you know, death game type of series. Think, you know, Squid Game. I'm pretty sure that this manga actually inspired the creator of Squid Game, so that makes a lot of sense when reading this. And yeah, while I don't think that the art style is necessarily my favorite, I did overall enjoy this. This was a pretty quick read as well. And yeah, can't wait for more of Alice in Borderland. And then, kind of keeping with the same mangaka, I do want to briefly mention Zom 100. I read volume 4. I actually don't have it with me right now, and that is because I have unfortunately decided to drop Zom 100. Now, you guys might be asking, Blue Tempest, didn't you make a 3-volume rule on Zom 100, and didn't you say in that video that you were gonna keep collecting it and that you really enjoyed the series? Yes, but just to kind of explain why I decided to drop Zom 100, there are a couple of reasons. So reason number 1 is volumes 1 and 2 were really enjoyable. I really did like those 2 volumes, but once I got to volume 3, it kind of dipped, in my opinion. I feel like the whole bucket list aspect to the series kind of got a little old and tiresome for me personally, and just the story was not really going anywhere interesting in my opinion. And you know, volume 3 wasn't as good as the first 2 volumes, but I was gonna give it another volume to see if that was just maybe a fluke. But in my opinion, volume 4 kind of kept going downhill for me. It kind of got to the point where, you know, volume 4 had been sitting on my shelf for a while. Volume 5 came out and I didn't even pick that up, and I had no desire to read volume 4 or to pick up volume 5 immediately, and that's kind of a red flag in my opinion. That probably means I should just probably drop the series. Another reason too is because of Alice in Borderland coming out. I just feel like Alice in Borderland kind of fits that same vibe as Zom 100 because it is by the same mangaka, and I just feel like I don't need 2 series like that that are currently ongoing with the releases in English. I just don't need 2 series like that in my opinion. I am just good with collecting Alice in Borderland for right now, so yeah, I did decide to drop Zom 100, but that's not to say that it is a bad series. I also did read Hide and Closer Volume 1, which is also by Haruo Aso, the same mangaka, and I did also decide to drop this as well after the first volume, just because I didn't really enjoy this too much. I thought it was very much a generic battle shonen. There are some aspects of the series that kind of remind me of Zatch Bell, but just not executed as well. And yeah, this wasn't really that interesting in my opinion, so I decided to also drop this. And then we're gonna kind of go into a couple more series that I just decided to drop, starting with Please Put Them on Takamine-san. Now, this is a ecchi manga, very fan service heavy, and man, the premise of the series is just absolutely insane. It's basically about this girl who can kind of undo something that she did in the past by taking off a piece of her underwear. And the undergarment that she takes off actually disappears from existence after she takes it off and, goes back in time to redo whatever it is that she wants to redo. And our main character, he's a guy, and he finds out about her ability. And so she kind of has him be her closet. And what I mean by that is he literally has to carry around like a suitcase with extra underwear so he can put it on her every time she, uses her power. This is a really out there concept, and that's the reason why I picked it up, because, it's just such a ridiculous concept. And overall, this wasn't bad. I just don't feel like it's something that I should continue. I just feel like I have too many ongoing series, and this wasn't like that good for me to continue it. But if you guys like ecchi, maybe check this out if you're interested. But it's not that good, honestly. It's not bad, but it's not that good, you know what I mean? So there's some good art though. I will say the art is kind of the art is there, I will say. But yeah, moving on, let's talk about Pretty Face Volume 1. Now, this was a random Volume 1 that I picked up that was part of a lot, and I decided to read this because I didn't really know whether I should collect it or not. And yeah, this was alright. This also is a rom-com with a crazy premise. The main character, he gets hit by a truck or something, or like gets in a car accident. He wakes up, and when he looks at himself in the mirror, he actually has the face of his crush. And the reason for that being, when he got into this accident, his face got all deformed. He was found by this crazy plastic surgeon, and that surgeon didn't know how our main character's face was supposed to look like. So because the main character had a picture of his crush in his wallet, the surgeon thought that that's how he was supposed to look like. So then he built his face to look like his crush. And that's pretty much the premise. It's really crazy, and honestly, there's not really a lot of romance in the series. It's more just like comedy and really uncomfortable scenarios that our main character gets in because of him looking like the girl that he likes. And soon after, they actually do meet after this incident, and he pretty much pretends to be her like long lost sister or something. So there's a lot of really messy things going on in this series. Honestly, it seems like a fun, wacky concept, but I don't think it was really executed that well. But I don't think it's meant to be taken seriously or anything like that. I just feel like this was just a very messy rom-com in my opinion. So yeah, didn't really enjoy this one that much, so I am also dropping it. Yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say about this series. And then the last series that I actually dropped was a newer pickup, a newer release actually, and that is Orochi by Kazuo Umez. Now, this is a horror manga, and honestly, this one I was kind of on the fence about continuing it or not. I didn't think it was bad. It's pretty much a set of short stories about these different like messed up scenarios, and Orochi is our main character who kind of witnesses all of these messed up things happen to other people, and then she herself has powers, but it's not really explained who and what she is. And I'm sure we'll get maybe some explanation later on in the series, but also I wouldn't be surprised if they never really explain it. But I would say this is a great manga if you really enjoy a lot of Junji Ito's works. Personally, I'm just not a big fan of the episodic nature of these horror stories. Although the artwork is fantastic, I did think that the scenarios were pretty creepy and disturbing. I just felt like this series is a little expensive. I don't know if I want to collect it all. And so I did actually sell that to a friend of mine who is more into horror manga. So yeah, nothing, wrong with the manga. I think it's a perfectly good manga. It is a classic horror series, and I do still want to get into the Drifting Classroom, which is another series by the same mangaka. That one kind of, I dropped just because I don't want to have too many ongoing series, and I just have to make some sacrifices sometimes. But back to some manga that I actually am not dropping. This is actually more so manga that I actually really love, and that is gonna be Berserk. So I did finally start reading the Conviction arc, which is the arc that takes place after the Golden Age arc. And man, I'm just so happy and glad to finally be reading Berserk again. I did take a bit of a break after I finished the Golden Age arc so I could, accumulate more of these deluxe editions, as I want to pretty much take this series arc by arc. But yeah, now I'm in the Conviction arc and I'm really loving it. It's still really good. The writing, the artwork, everything about this series I absolutely love. And it's just crazy for me to read Berserk in a completely different arc from what the Golden Age arc was, because in my opinion the Golden Age arc in itself has its own story to it. It could be just its own manga right there, and it's just crazy to continue the series. And honestly, I just can't wait to read more of Berserk, so I will definitely keep you guys updated. As of right now, I did only read up till the end of volume 5 of the deluxe editions. I'm definitely planning to read some more Berserk very soon. All right, and now we are at the point in this video where I'm going to talk about my manga of the month for March, and that is going to be, to no surprise in my opinion, Dorohedoro. If you guys have been following me like on social media, or have just been seeing some of the stuff I've been posting and stuff like that, then you guys might have guessed that Dorohedoro was a series that I was really enjoying. This has basically been the main series that I've been tackling lately. I only just recently finished volume 8 at this point, but this is definitely a series that I know I am just loving. I think the series has pretty much already kind of made a place in my top 10 manga series of all time, and I just love everything about the series. The characters, the world, and man, the story is really good too. I just love seeing different characters interact that you didn't think they would ever really interact. And it feels like each volume consistently highlights different characters and even introduces new characters, and every character that's introduced, in my opinion, has been really interesting. And I do talk more about this series in the video that I did about it, where I did compare it to Die Dark, so check that video out. I actually give a better description and synopsis of what Dorohedoro is about. But yeah, I don't want to say any more until I actually complete the series, so I'm gonna definitely work on reading some more of this for the rest of April, and I may actually do a full series review of Dorohedoro on my channel, which is something I've never done before. But let me know if you guys would like to see some videos like that. I'm definitely gonna keep doing these reading logs. I'm gonna try to actually stay on schedule from here on out, but I do feel like I should maybe do some full series reviews and stuff like that as well. So let me know what you guys think of that idea. But with that, guys, that does it for this reading log. I hope you guys did enjoy it, and if you did, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Make sure to follow me on all of my social media platforms such as Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. I'm very inactive on TikTok right now, but I'm planning to make a comeback at some point. So definitely follow me for when that happens, but especially follow me on Instagram and Twitter, where you guys will see some sneak peeks of what manga I am currently reading and stuff like that before I drop these reading logs. And I have also left the link to my Mal account also in the description. Follow me on there. I do try to keep my Mal up to date with what I have been reading as well, so if you want to keep up with that and see my whole manga list and what I've rated some manga and stuff like that, definitely follow me on Mal. But I did also want to say, you know, let me know down in the comments what you guys thought of this video. Let me know what you guys have been reading, and also feel free to recommend any series that you think I might enjoy based on what I enjoyed in this video down in the comments. If you do enjoy my content, then you should definitely hit that notification bell so you can get notified every time I do upload a brand new video. And with that, guys, that does it for this video. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.